Hey everyone, welcome back to Screen Review. Again, my name is Megan.
And I'm Hannah.
All right, before we begin, make sure to follow us on social media at Boca Tribune. You can find us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, pretty much wherever you can find us. You can watch this show later on YouTube, on IGTV, or on our Facebook. It'll be archived there. So make sure to give us a follow, like, share the video, whatever. Today we're going to be reviewing Princess and the Frog. It came out in 2009. It is rated G, and it is 1 hour and 38 minutes long. So as always, we're going to kind of go ahead in with our general thoughts, spoiler-free, of course, before diving into the actual plot of the movie. So Hannah, take it away, girl.
Well, Megan, you mentioned this actually when we first started the movie that you like the 2D style. So I'm sorry to steal it, but you like the 2D style. You like versus how I guess Frozen maybe does the 3D animation style where it looks more rounded versus flat.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I agree. I mean, it was made in 2009, which doesn't really mean anything because technology was there to make 3D animation styles, but they were intentionally trying to make it the 2D, I think, because it was based in the 1920s. And so they were trying to make it look old school, I guess.
Okay.
I really liked it, though. The color scheme was amazing. It was full of greens and purples and yellows and golds. It was very, like, New Orleans, very Mardi Gras-esque, which I appreciated because typically every Disney movie is like not as colorful or it's just one color. For example, we have an appearance, but I really appreciated it. The movie's cute. I highly recommend it if you haven't watched it yet. Based on the past few movies we've been watching, I could watch this one all day long. So yeah, I really liked it.
Yeah, no, definitely. And yeah, kind of going off of your point, like you were saying, I mean, Frozen and Tangled and Brave even are kind of, don't quote me on this, but I believe the first movies that Disney started coming out with that had that kind of 3D animation style. And so I really liked kind of taking it back to the 2D style. You know, Hannah and I grew up watching the little 2D animation Disney movies. And so it was really nice and more like a nostalgic, true Disney type movie for us, at least. At least it's kind of what it felt like. And of course, I mean, the music. Let's just take a minute to appreciate it. Disney just really knows how to make some great, great songs. And this was really no exception. I mean, it was definitely fun. Like you were saying, they really went in New Orleans kind of vibe for the movie. And that was definitely apparent in the music. But I really liked it. Of course, I recommend it. I mean, I'm never going to speak ill of any Disney movie ever. And this is definitely one that, honestly, I would buy. I would buy this movie.
And I really like the message of it. I think this is a different type of message. I mean, of course, every Disney movie has its tropes. Like, they're going to get married at the end. Not really a spoiler. So that's an issue in and of itself, just of Disney in general. But, of course, it's going to be in this movie because it's a Disney movie and they want to sell the idea of marriage, which is a token. But besides that, I liked it.
Yeah, it was definitely cute. I mean, of course, yeah, very a roundabout Disney obvious way of doing it. You know, like she was saying, of course it's gonna be a happy ending. Of course they're gonna get together. True love will reign supreme. You know, of course everything's gonna work out in the end. It's a Disney movie, but I think it's cute. It's a fun watch for the whole family. Hannah and I enjoyed it as a family. It was nice. Regardless, that's all I have for general thoughts, spoiler free. Do you have anything else you'd like to add, Hannah?
I guess just really quick, the lighting was really good in this movie. Although it was 2D, I think they did a really good job of portraying light. Because it was kind of a darker film. Like, they're in a swamp for most of the movie. But the way they included light into the film was really intentional, and I appreciated that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I definitely agree. And I would say that everything in this movie was very intentional and definitely kind of added to the general experience of the movie. But regardless, if you have not seen Princess and the Frog yet, go ahead and watch it. It's on Netflix. And again, you can find us on the Facebook. Will be archived there. On the IGTV will be there. And on YouTube, and come finish the show later. So now we're going to jump into spoilers. So if you haven't watched it yet, we're going to be talking spoilers. So I guess, Hannah, if you just want to take us to kind of Wherever you want to start, really. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, so I want to start with Dr. Facilier.
Okay,
and
good choice.
His solos. His songs, top 5 villain song of all time for Disney.
Sure.
Like really, really up there. Like I think him and Ursula are like my top 2 favorite villains of any Disney movie.
Really, Ursula?
I feel like they have the same vibe.
Are we forgetting Scar?
I don't think it's the same. Well, maybe the eyes.
That's all. No, I'm not saying the vibe is similar, but I'm just saying if we're talking best Disney villains, I have to throw in Scar, the song that he had. If we're talking specifically about the music, I mean,
that's true.
We'll do Lion King at some point and just kind of cry together about it.
Yeah, we should do the in-person one.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. So start with Dr. Facilier, his songs. I mean, I don't know exactly what it was called, but I mean, you know, I've got friends on the other side, essentially, is what we're kind of discussing.
Well, sorry, he's biting me. I really like the inclusion of instruments. I feel like that's new. Well, I guess, that was maybe the first time I think, oh my gosh, that any villain had music I can't think, I mean, because he had a whole, like, orchestra, I feel like. Not orchestra, but a bunch of different, like, the friends on the other side were playing. Yeah. It was, like, crescendoing up to the magic happening, you know, the transformation.
Yeah. I definitely agree, and I can see kind of why you lumped him and Ursula in together, because if you think about kind of the song when Ursula was kind of taking Ariel's voice, I think that really close Dr. Facilier really just going in and just taking everybody, you know, taking them all, kind of taking advantage of them all. And so I really see the similarities and parallels between the two of them. I mean, again, top 5 favorite Disney villain ever, for sure, easily. I mean, he was scary when he utilized his friends on the other side. I mean, they were like shadow monsters. It was a little intense for a Disney movie especially, but I mean, it was really good. It definitely added to the overall kind of vibe of the movie, like very New Orleans, like voodoo witchery kind of thing. You know, they have a little shops and stuff there for all that kind of stuff. So I think that it definitely added to that. But if we kind of want to part away from Dr. Facilier, let's kind of talk about Tiana for a bit. I mean, this is kind of the first instance of a Disney princess that we have, maybe apart from Belle, but not really, that truly worked hard and was an independent woman. You know, she had her goal. She was working toward it. She was working like, 2 jobs and not letting anyone really stand in the way. And I really think that's a great message for them to kind of put out there. And I really almost am sad that this movie doesn't really get the attention that it truly deserves, because I think that this message is, he's being fine, but I think this message is really important, especially for, you know, young kids to watch, to be like, you know what? Yeah, you can wish upon a star like Pinocchio told you, and all your dreams will come true. Like, you'll be a real boy, but unless you put in the hard work, you know, what's going to happen? What's going to come of it? And I think this movie did a really great job of having Tiana show that, yeah, I can wish upon a star and, you know, have my goals, have my dreams, have all this stuff. But unless I put in the hard work as well, I can't really expect the North Star to grant me my wish, you know?
No, I totally agree.
That. Mm-hmm.
I really like the fact that they did that. And you can even see with Naveen how he had never worked hard in his life. And Tiana showed him what hard work can do. You know, because without her, they would have stayed frogs. Like, her determination brought them the ability to turn back. And of course, the whole marriage thing is really what did it. But like, the idea of hard work being the number one thing versus just like dreaming of your goals, actually putting in the effort to create them is something that I really liked. And you can even see that through Dr. Facilier. Like, I mean, he was working to get his goal, you know, like, obviously his means were different and he was trying to use someone else's power to achieve his goal, which could have been why his demise happened. Whereas Tiana was like, at the end of the day, she still got her restaurant through her money. She had to use some intimidation tactics with our friend Louis, but it still worked. So I really like that. And even with Lottie, like, I mean, she didn't work hard at all.
No.
She was privileged, and the movie doesn't shy away from admitting that. It's obvious that she is the privileged white woman in this movie, and her dad is extremely rich, which is why she is rich. But she was a supporting role to Tiana's hard work and determination. I think that was really a good lesson to teach kids. And so if you have kids and you haven't seen this film, I really recommend you watch it, because it's a different kind of message versus just like with Cinderella or with Snow White, where it's, oh, you're asleep, or oh, or like, not Cinderella, but like Sleeping Beauty, for example, where the woman doesn't really do anything besides just lay there and wait for the guy to come save her. But Tiana is the one that saves the day, and I appreciated that.
Yeah, and I kind of like what you're saying about Charlotte and how, you know, she really...
Did I say Lottie?
You did say Lottie. But yeah. She did call her Lottie at one point, I think, but Charlotte, we'll say. Yeah, of course, she was the privileged woman in the entire movie. Whereas Tiana, of course, had to work hard, and Lottie, Charlotte, likely never had to work hard for anything in her entire life. We're just going to throw that out there and assume. Yet she wasn't... I mean, she was annoying. We can just say that. But she wasn't annoying to Tiana about it. She wasn't patronizing. She didn't do anything like that where she was like, oh, Tiana, like, I'm better than you inherently. Like, no, she wanted to marry Prince Naveen, but she saw that her best friend Tiana fell in love with him and was like, you know what? I'm going to try to help you achieve your happy ending and achieve your goals. And I agree with you that I think that's a really important message versus being like the vindictive best friend that's like, oh, well, I liked him first. Like, it could have easily taken in that direction, but I really enjoyed that they didn't, and that they showed, and they showed that it didn't have to happen. But that kind of leads me down the path of wishing that, you know how Frozen, in the end, of course, like the sister bond, like their love, that's what the true love was. I almost wish they did that with this movie. Instead of having Tiana need Prince Naveen to achieve her goals and whatnot and do all of that, I wish that it was a story of her independently, you know, solving all the problems and getting the restaurant herself and then meeting Prince Naveen. I don't care. Get married, girly. You know, it doesn't really matter. But I almost wish that she did it herself the whole time. I think that this would have been a better opportunity to kind of implement that idea. Because, I mean, this came out in 2009 and what, Frozen came out in like 2013, 2012, whatever, sometime around then. Obviously, it was in the works at that point. So they could have easily just kind of put it with this movie. Yeah, I would have almost liked that better. But regardless, that's just... me.
No, I agree, because if you think about it, like in Frozen, they actually like they go through stuff together for more than one day. Like it was one night that they were frogs. They had till midnight to get over it, and they decided, oh, this is it. You know what? I'm in love with you, and we need to be married. However, I think that was kind of the point of having the mama person. I forget her full name, but
Mama Odie?
Yes, Mama Odie, where she kept telling them, you think you know what you want, Tiana. You think that your number one goal is to have this restaurant. And like, Naveen, you think your number one goal is to continue partying your like luxurious life. However, like really dig deep and think about what you truly want in life. And the entire thing that with Tiana's dad was that he always stated about having love and having a family.
That's true.
And so like she was just trying to take her dad's dream of having the restaurant when really her dream was just having a family and the restaurant. So I don't know, maybe that's why they had her end up marrying Naveen in the end. But
yeah, I agree. That could definitely be a reason why the dad definitely did place a huge emphasis on love and family, being like, oh, but you know, this is what really matters. Like things, but love is what, you know, really binds us together and makes everything worth it in the end, like being able to come home to a family. So I think that's a really good point. I would love to talk about Ray.
Yeah, let's do that.
I've been thinking about him the whole time. Ray was a little firefly that Naveen and Tiana met on their kind of little adventures as frogs, and he light the way for them to go to Mama Odie's house, who would of course help them turn back into humans. And he was just so lovely. A character that I really, really appreciated. Almost like, I don't know, the equivalent of like Olaf, but 100 times better. He was just funny and friendly, and he was in love with that North Star we were talking about earlier. she was the most beautiful firefly in all the swamp, all the bayou to him. Her name was Evangeline, and I just really enjoyed Ray's presence and energy in the movie. I think that instead of being like Olaf, like this kind of one-dimensional, like what a funny character. Like I love Olaf, by the way, but I will just say that he was like one-dimensional. Like his purpose was to make jokes and be funny. Ray, however, was a three-dimensional legend. I really enjoyed him. Hannah, let's talk about Ray. What do you think?
Well, my favorite thing about Ray was that he never wavered in his love for Evangeline.
Mm-hmm.
Like, even when people were doubting him, or even when, I don't know, like, there was the threat from Naveen possibly falling in love with Evangeline, like, he stood up and he did not back down. Mm-hmm. And I really, that's another lesson I think that's important to teach people, that when you have this goal, and his goal was to love Evangeline, he didn't give up, even when it was challenging, even when people doubted him. And that was just, every night, him and her would talk. And that's real sweet for them. I'm really happy for them. I'm going to pour one out for them tonight because it makes me so sad that he died. It was unnecessary. They didn't have to die.
It was so unnecessary.
And that's the thing, is that Disney has these like basic things, like this like set criteria of whatever, like little boxes they have to check per movie. Like there has to be a marriage. There has to be something sad. Like, I don't know. This movie would have been better served if Ray probably hadn't died. Like, what really was the goal?
Yeah, I would agree with that. And, you know, I would love to elaborate on that in a second. But first, we have a little commercial break. So stick around. We'll be right back. And we're going to continue talking about Ray, the best character.
Yeah.
Welcome back. Let's continue. I'm going to jump straight back into Ray because I love him. So I agree with what you're saying about how Ray kind of never wavered in his goals and his ambitions to be with Evangeline and to love her, no matter what kind of, I guess, obstacles stood in the way of that. But I think, you know, of course, Disney has to stick to the typical, you know, oh, love, sad, they win, like that kind of, I guess, like you were saying, like the check marks, the check boxes, things like that. I think that Ray potentially had, I hate to say it, he had died because, you know, little cute firefly, he ended up with Evangeline. It was a lovely star right next to her. So, of course, it was sad, it was upset, but he got to be with her.
That's true. It fits the happy ending Disney always needs.
Exactly. Even the little alligator, Louie, he got his happy ending. He got to play in his band at Tiana's restaurant. I mean, everyone kind of found their own version of a happy ending, except for probably Dr. Facilier, obviously. And I would even argue Charlotte kind of got cheated out of a happy ending in a sense. I mean, her one goal the whole movie was to get married, and she didn't.
But I think, yeah, it wasn't a happy ending for her, but she didn't really put the work in to get married. She didn't form a relationship with anyone. All she did was put her makeup on and look pretty and go to a ball. Like, that's not hard work. That's just showing up. Like, you need to actually commit to someone the way that Tiana committed to Naveen for that one day, for that one night. But
I agree with you 100%. But at the end of the day, I mean, it's a Disney movie. When has doing your makeup and just showing up not been enough? Exactly. You know? So I kind of like how this is a departure from the norm in that sense. Whereas, like, let's take The Little Mermaid, for example. You know what I mean? I mean, my girl Ariel was knocked out on the beach dead. And, like, that's when Eric was like, oh my God, I love her. Like, she couldn't even speak.
Love you.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I really kind of enjoy this departure from the norm. I hate to say it again, but that's what it is. To where Naveen was like, he really fell in love with who Tiana is. And like you were saying, like Charlotte just showing up pretty wasn't enough when it always has been enough in the past.
Exactly.
So I really appreciated that. I think Disney moving forward is definitely making more kind of three-dimensional female leads in that kind of sense. I mean, thinking about it, like Frozen moving forward. I mean, Anna and Elsa are pretty dimensional. Even Rapunzel from Tangled, she was really three-dimensional, I think. You know, She had a dream. She just happened to fall in love with Flynn Rider on the way. And I mean, who can blame her?
I mean, even like Moana, you know what I mean? Like,
yes. Sorry. Like that movie.
So I think I agree. And I really, it makes me interested to see where Disney is heading. I mean, Disney has so much money. They can just do whatever they want. And so I'm along for the ride, you know?
Yeah. Take us wherever. Although I can't speak to Brave. I've never seen it, but I do understand the loose premise of it. I think Merit is three-dimensional from what it seems. I mean, from what I've heard of the movie.
I think so as well. I don't want to mischaracterize what the movie's about, but isn't it just about like her family turns into bears and she has to make them not bears again? That's the movie.
Yeah. Basically. But she did it because she was going to get into like an arranged marriage or something that she didn't want to do because she didn't want to be like, you know, the little dutiful wife. She wanted to be the queen herself and not need a boy to help her do that. So that's whatever. Not important to Princess and the Frog. But I loved Princess and the Frog. I will likely watch it again and just cry a little. You know, what else are Disney movies for besides just wistfully enjoying them?
This was definitely a nice change compared to the past few movies / TV show that we watched. I really like reviewing Disney movies because they're heartwarming and there's not really much to them, but we can also just dissect. We dissected it a little bit.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Definitely. And I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of little nuances and things that we missed, but on the whole, I think that we did a nice job kind of breaking down individual characters and really just discussing the movie, which is what we do here. We liked it, and that's really it. I think that's pretty much all that I have. I mean, we could talk a little bit about Lawrence, but honestly, I don't like him. So that's pretty much all that I have. What about you, Ham?
Yeah, I'll say my like final thoughts about Lawrence, but I agree. There's not much to say about him. I mean, he was unhappy with his life, and so he projected that to make other people unhappy, which is just like, it's not going to work out for you in the end. It didn't work out for him in the end. And that's it. And you could maybe say the reason why it didn't work out for him was because he didn't put in that hard work the same way that Charlotte didn't put in any work, and it didn't work out for her, which is kind of the underlying message of the movie, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree.
So I think Lawrence was there to kind of like bring that in along with Charlotte. But
yeah, I definitely agree. And of course, like you were saying, Disney has these little boxes they need to check. I mean, the betrayal, that's a box they need to check, you know. Regardless, so I think that's pretty much it for the show this week. But before we go, make sure to follow us on social media at Boca Tribune. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, all the above. You can find us, watch the show later, IGTV, Facebook, and on YouTube. And come join us next week, Tuesday, 7 p.m. We're going to be watching the movie Her on Netflix. So we'll see you then, and happy Thanksgiving, guys.
Yeah, stay safe, socially distance. Make sure you wear masks if you're with extended family. It's going to be rough. So just make sure you're
being as safe as possible.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks, guys. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.